Hail, you nostalgic shark sabers!
Welcome to the annual crossover between This Endorian Life
and 902 and Here We Go. I'm Kendra Mickles from 902 and Here We Go.
I'm Steve Rudd from This Endorian Life.
I'm Nick Gunning from both.
Woo!
Our shows are brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 90s Music Got Me Like and previously on X-Men. You can follow all of the shows at Radio Meanwhile on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads.
Today, for Shark Week, we are discussing the sci-fi original film Sharknado 4, The Fourth, Awakens.
This movie was released on July 31st, 2016. Kendra, let's check out the Beverly Beat.
Let's do it.
We guarantee the Beverly Beat is the best advertising you'll ever get.
Couple of birthdays. On July 15th, Brian Austin Green, who, of course, played David Silver in 90210, turned 43.
He looks great, even today.
Even today, he's looking good. July 16th, Annalyn McCord, who played Naomi, the 90210 CW years, turned 31. And July 17th, Billy Lord, who plays Lieutenant Connix in the sequel trilogy, turned 24. She also served as a body double for her mother, the late Carrie Fisher, in the flashback Leia scene from Rise of Skywalker.
No way.
She did, and I have a Funko Pop of that. Anybody surprised?
No.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Couple of deaths to mention. July 3rd, Noelle Neal, who played Lois Lane in the Superman serials, as well as the George Reeves series, died at 95.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good innings.
And she and Jack Larson, who played Jimmy Olsen, popped up in pretty much every Superman thing from like the serials all the way up through. They were both in Superman Returns, and that might be the last thing that they were in. But yeah, legends in the Superman world for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
July 19th, legendary TV writer, producer, and film director Gary Marshall passed away.
Love Gary Marshall. Yeah, that was sad. He directed like Pretty Woman and, wrote shows like The Odd Couple and, Laverne and Shirley, all that stuff. I mean, legend.
Movies, December 16th, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, hit theaters.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what's
what
crazy?
A time.
What? That's the movie. I'm very familiar with that. That's when Camille was born.
Oh.
And I had told Tara was in the hospital, and I told her that I was going home to do homework, and instead I went to go see the movie.
Oh.
I went to see Rogue One because I didn't get it. I'd never gotten a chance to see it, and then she went to the hospital because Camille was going to be born prematurely. And so I'm in the theater. The movie just starts. We're like 5 minutes in. I get a text, the baby's coming. And I was like, are you sure? Because the movie had just started. And then I thought I was going to get away with it. But two of my friends walked in and I was like, oh, I'm so busted.
Yeah.
That's it. Because it's going to come up one day. And then 5 years later, my friends were like, oh yeah, that was really cool that Camille was born on that night. And Tara was like, wait a minute, what? You were watching a movie? You're supposed to be doing homework.
I was just out to dinner with my family and we were talking about the Demon Slayer movie or something. And my cousin was like, wait a minute, when did you go see that, to her husband? And he was like, I left work early and went to the movies. And she was like, you what? Because she watches that show with him, but he went without her. And I was I was dying.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Anyway. I don't have any baby betrayal movie stories, but my wife and I did go see The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and as we were leaving, we got in the car and her water broke. So I always associate Amazing Spider-Man 2 with our son. So yeah. So Steve, you stayed in Rogue One while Camille was being born. I just want to get that. I just want to make sure.
No.
Okay.
I only stayed in there as long as that second text. Yes,
I see. Okay.
Because
okay.
It was
all right.
No false alarms.
Well, yeah, her water kind of cracked. And then she was in the hospital for 10 days, and so when she was like, baby's coming, and I was like, all right, this is the second or third time that the baby's coming, and it didn't. So that's why I was like, are you sure? I'm not a jerk husband.
Okay.
And then she's like, no,
but the way the story ended made me wonder. So I'm glad we're clarifying now.
I haven't seen Rogue One since I saw it in theaters. I need to rewatch it.
No way.
Same. I haven't.
Oh,
I
you need
saw
to
I
it
watch
really
it,
liked
man.
it.
one
It still
time.
holds up.
That's
It's
it.
good. It still holds up. You should.
Okay.
You should.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need to rewatch it. TV, June 20th, Lego Star Wars: The Freemaker Adventures debuted on Disney XD.
I haven't watched that.
I haven't watched that either.
Your son hasn't watched that?
Oh, I bet he has.
No, I don't think he has.
No?
No, I don't think
Huh.
so. Yeah,
Disney XD. I wonder if that is on Disney Plus.
I think it is on Disney Plus. Yeah,
Perhaps.
some of the characters were in the Lego Summer Vacation that we covered a while back, and we didn't recognize them because we haven't seen the Freemaker series. So
Oh.
yeah, yep.
July 15th, Stranger Things debuted on Netflix. Man, that was such a big deal.
Huge.
It was.
Everyone was
Yeah.
like, have you seen Stranger Things?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
late to the party on Stranger Things because we didn't have Netflix at the time. So it was like, I don't know, whenever we got it, or I think the library got it on DVD, and that's how I watched it finally. But
Right.
I cannot believe there's more Stranger Things yet to be. I mean, these kids are going to be
Really?
like
Well,
38.
that first
Every one of
season
them-
was so
Every one of them has an
cool.
ex-wife.
There
At
isn't
this
enough
point.
therapy in the world
Yeah.
for these kids.
No, it's true.
That first season
true.
was like so cool and such a vibe. And then like
Yeah.
the most recent season, I was like,
I
oh
couldn't
my
make it through
goodness,
that.
are we
Oh my
done?
gosh.
I didn't even finish it.
It was brutal. I loved the mall season when they're in the mall and like Maya Hawke is there. I really like that
Yes,
season.
that was a good season.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll watch the rest of them, but truthfully, the last season, we powered through it because for some reason I thought those were the last episode. I thought we were watching the finale.
I did too.
I was like, wait, is there more? Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, that was exactly what happened to
They're
me.
milking
Did
it.
you
Yeah.
tell me it was the
God.
last season? Is that what happened?
Or maybe you
Somebody
told me,
told me it
Kendra.
was the
We don't
last
need to be pointing fingers, okay?
All right, music. May 27th, the Monkees released their highly regarded album, Good Times.
Love
The
it.
album reached number 1 on the Billboard vinyl charts.
Mm-hmm. And number one in my heart. That's a great album.
Definitely.
That's a
It
great
is a
album.
good
You know,
album.
a few years after this, Steve and I went to see Mike Nesmith live in Phoenixville, PA. Great. It was a great concert.
Yes. Such a memorable concert. Just so
Yeah, it
good.
really was. It really was. And then Kendra and I saw the Monkees, like Mike and Mickey, together do a lot of cuts
Oh.
from this album in Ohio. So
Yeah.
a great album.
June 14th, the Red Hot Chili Peppers released The Getaway, which is certified gold in the US and hit number 1 on the Billboard Rock and Alternative charts. I love this album.
My favorite
So
way
much.
to listen to this album is it playing on a CD and Kendra doing all the harmonies live in a car. That's how I like to listen to The Getaway.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
There's so many good harmonies with, like, it's just natural
know.
to sing harmony with this
I know.
album.
Yeah. I'm not joking.
good.
That's truly my preferred way.
What it's I can't I don't know what any of the songs on this album. Is that the one that
Dark
came out?
Necessities,
Mhm.
Go Robot,
Oh,
Love,
okay.
Sick Love.
Yeah.
Sick
It's
Love?
a good album. It is a good album.
Yeah, okay.
It was Josh Klinghoffer's last
Uh,
album
The last
the
album.
group.
Okay.
before they kicked him to the curb. But let's not get into it.
Aw.
Because
Yeah,
Sarah will
right.
come in here and start talking to us about it.
He's
All
gonna
right.
hear.
Games, May 10th, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End was released for PS4. Nick, you love
Love it.
Uncharted.
I love every one of those games. I loved 4. There was like kind of a spin-off of 4 where they used a lot of the same like world and map and had a new adventure with the Chloe Fraser character. Every one of these games is great, and they just get better as they go. Very
I
good.
haven't played a single minute.
Oh man, I love them.
I've watched my husband play.
My wife actually tracked down a PlayStation Vita for me because there's one game that's only on the Vita, and it's the only Uncharted game I hadn't played. So now I have a Vita, and I think it's called Golden Compass, and I'm gonna do it.
That's true
Yeah.
love.
Yep.
You gonna do it?
Yeah, I am.
June 28th, Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens was released across all platforms.
Yeah.
Mm.
All the Lego
We
Star
have
Wars
to
games.
bundle with all the
good.
Lego Star Wars games.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this one's on it, but man, I've never experienced a test of a marriage like trying to play the Lego
Yeah.
games with my
Yeah.
spouse.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
man.
It's,
discussed this because you can only go so far from the other person. And
yeah,
it's,
you can only go
Yep.
so far.
No, we need
Yeah.
to go this direction. You should
You're
see
like,
my
come
kid.
over here.
ridiculous.
But the reverse of that, because my wife and I started playing the Skywalker Saga on PS5, and it's only split screen. Like, even if you're together, it's only split screen, and that is frustrating in its own way. So there's no happy medium.
Yeah. Books, June 14th, Marvel released the Droids and Ewoks Omnibus, collecting all of the issues based on the 2 animated series. Yep. Wow, look at that. Yep. Steve's got it.
Yep.
I got it.
Yeah, this has got everything, Kendra, and it's been a mixed bag. Let me tell you what.
It really has. It really has. Wow. I mean, just what a couple podcasts ago, we gave one like a 2.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's the lowest score I've ever given in this podcast.
The bar is so low, yet they keep finding way, much like Sharknado. You know what I mean? They keep finding ways to just drop the quality a little bit. Speaking of Sharknado, our featured cast member today is the one and only Adrian Zmed. Steve, I wondered if you recognized him. Adrian Zmed.
Of course I did.
Okay, I should have never doubted.
How can you?
I should have never doubted. I should have never doubted.
I was like, oh my gosh, is that Adrian Zmed? And then Adrian it just pans away. I had to like do the 10-second back and then do it again. I was like, oh my gosh, it is. Oh, it is a deep cut. He appears as himself. He dipped his toe into the Star Wars world by voicing Toth in the classic game Star Wars Jedi Starfighter, but he's best known for his role as Johnny, the leader of the T-Birds in Grease 2. Opposite Michelle Pfeiffer, he played her ex, so not the cool guy. And for playing, of course, the one and only Officer Romano in the William Shatner-led series, P.J. Hooker. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Kendra, Steve and I had some great times in the college years. We had Hooker on DVD, a log cabin, and nothing to stop us from watching all that TJ Hooker. So it was a good What was the show? What was the show with the puppet kid?
Joe 90.
Joe 90. Oh man.
Yeah.
Dude, hours and hours. We watched that series like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. That's definitely the dorkiest thing I've ever heard, I think.
No, that's fine.
Care.
That's fine. Fun. You know what? Let me tie it in for you, Kendra, because you know who co-stars alongside TJ Hooker and Adrian Zmed? Heather Locklear, star of Melrose Place from the 90210 franchise, Kendra. So there you go.
There it is.
All comes first.
Oh,
Adrian Zmed. Yeah. She's got the nice big feathered hair in that one. She's great.
Oh my God.
Adrian Zmed says, "Who's that guy?" which is a song from Grease 2. So he's like legit quoting Grease 2 in this movie.
Oh, I was like, surely that was a allusion to something. But
who's that guy? Sure where did he come from? Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's it.
He goes like this.
The collar.
And he pops his collar.
He did.
Always TJ Hooker.
It was a great moment. It was a great moment.
All right. Shall I get us into the the crawl, the uber detailed crawl from Sharknado 4, The Fourth Awakens?
Kendra, Steve and I were talking on This Endorian Life, how finally it makes sense that we're crossing over with the Star Wars podcast to do this, because this is, and I don't know if you guys saw the cover. The cover is a very clear ripoff of the Force Awakens cover.
Yeah.
Oh,
so totally the colors and everything, and of course, the opening crawl. So yes, proceed, Steve.
Yeah, all right. Episode 4, The Fourth Awakens. It has been 5 years since the last Sharknado. Tech company Astro X has used their revolutionary energy system to stabilize the atmosphere and prevent the formation of all tornadoes using cheap, clean reactors dubbed astropods. The world has been peaceful and prosperous thanks to Astro X's visionary founder, Aston Reynolds. But now the future is about to be threatened once again.
There it is.
That's it.
All right, Nick, who's living in Beverly Hills? Or Kansas?
We're in Kansas. Kansas and Las Vegas, I guess, are the two this time.
Way more than that. Way more than that. Okay. I'll get into that later.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Once again, directed by Anthony C. Ferrante. Steve, did you find his cameo in this? I know that you're always... He's like your Hitchcock. Okay, where was he?
He is cameraman to Gilbert Gottfried when he's he's the kid, and he like pulls the camera away and he's like, I can't remember. He says something. That's him. Okay. That's him. So yep, his little Hitchcock moment. The whole movie I was looking for him, and then he showed up.
I was gonna look it up, but I was like, I don't need to look it up. Steve will have it. Steve will have it locked in. Okay, written again by Thunder Levin. Returning players include Ian Ziering as Finn Shepard. He, of course, plays Steve Sanders on Beverly Hills 90210 and was, in fact, a real-life Chippendales dancer at the age of 49. Became a Chippendales dancer.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, so...
I thought that when he said no to hosting Chippendales, I was like, wasn't he a Chippendale dancer, though?
Yeah. They say something about him being a good Chippendale, and he's like, maybe in another lifetime or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. We have Tara Reid as April Wexler. Oh boy. Whoo. I kind of forgot that Sharknado 3 ends with the cliffhanger of whether or not she's dead or alive.
I totally forgot about that.
I forgot too.
And it was a whole, you voted. It was like April lives, April dies, like hashtag thing. And that edited it. Yeah. Yeah. So in this, we have like a 5-year time jump. And so like little baby Gil doesn't know her and everybody thinks she's dead, has thought she's dead for 5 years. She's finally revealed to be alive. That was because of the result of that poll where inexplicably people wanted more Tara Reid in these films. And they got their way.
It was just Tara Reid voting like 50
it was just Tara Reid.
times.
Yeah. Let's see. Other returning players, we have David Hasselhoff back as Gil Shepard in a much larger role. We got a lot more Hoff, so I'm sure you were happy about that, Steve.
Oh, I was very happy.
Ryan Newman is back as Claudia Shepard. The character of Matt Shepard is back, but now he's played by Cody Lindley. He's taking over from Chuck Hittinger, I guess, just to age him up a little bit.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
The kid is new. A bonus is Steve Guttenberg. So I'm counting Steve Guttenberg as returning cast because he's reprising his role of Colton West from Lavalantula, which was another one of these.
We got all these spiders we got to deal with.
Yeah, so I guess in Lavalantula, Ian Ziering shows up as Finn in Lavalantula, and so here Guttenberg is showing up as Colton West.
Love
so
it.
Well, he's showing up as
Sharknadoes,
He is his character, basically.
Yeah,
which is
so they're like connecting the world.
Yeah. Oh, I know a guy, and it's Steve Guttenberg.
Yep, it's
You're
Steve
like,
Guttenberg.
Oh yeah, of course.
New players include Tommy Davidson as Aston Reynolds, and that was a weird casting choice. Tommy Davidson's just such a, like I remember him from like A Living Color and, Ace Ventura 2 and all that. He's just a very funny, big comedian to play this role is very weird, but
he gave 110%.
He did. He
sure did. Yeah.
Gary Busey as Wilford Wexler, April's dad. Peak Gary Busey. It was Gary Busey at his finest. We have Cheryl Teagues as Ray. We have Marcela Lucia as Gemini, who I have to assume, I think she's just standing in for Nova, right? I mean...
She wasn't in the last movie?
No, because...
I recognize her from something then. Do
you remember how, like, every movie they have, like, all right, here's the pretty sexy lady that Ian Ziering is going to play off of. She was that for this. But they made them cousins, which I felt like
cousins,
a weird move.
I thought he was her uncle.
First cousin.
I don't know. Whatever it is. My point is they're family, and yet she's supposed to be like the sexy co-star. She has a moment where she like changes her clothes in front of them, and I'm like, this is weird.
And he has no idea it's happening to him.
This is a little weird.
What?
But anyway. Then we have Imani Hakim as Gabrielle, and that's the cameos. I actually feel like the cameos weren't as boom, 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 boom as they were in number 3. Thoughts on this?
In the beginning, it was a lot, and then they kind of spread them out.
Yeah.
That's true. There were not as many as there were in the second movie. The second movie was almost overwhelming to the point where, like,
it was.
Every single person in it was a cameo, right?
Yeah.
Where you got to the point where you're like, it was so weird and obvious that you're like, oh wait, okay, this is definitely a cameo.
I still had to pause my Amazon Prime a lot so it could tell me who was on the screen because I'm like, well, this is somebody, but I don't know who it is.
Well, when it started, when they get in a cab and Carrot Top is driving, I'm like, this is going to be a rough.
Oh,
this is going to be a rough sit.
I know it already started out like that.
That was rough. Steve, I have to ask you. Last year, you said you were so excited about watching this one because it was your personal favorite. On rewatch, does that still hold?
Yes.
Okay.
And no. There were some. I think I must have watched it. I may have been drinking, but
it would certainly help.
There were
it's funny
you asked that because there was times I was like, why did I like this? And then a couple things reminded me of why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. But like, I have a list. I had a list. I had to try and really cut it down. But this one is I was just talking with a friend about subverting expectation, right? When you're like, sometimes subverting expectation is good because you're like, oh, that's close to what I predicted. But man, that's such a better idea. Where this movie, it was just like, I didn't think they were going to do that.
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
For anyone screaming at their iPod, Marcela Lucia plays the daughter in the George Lopez show, which is what I know her from.
Okay.
I was like, I know her from something. That's what it is.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her. I didn't recognize her in his
Carmen
son.
in.
Now, Kendra, earlier in this, you called me a nerd for watching TJ Hooker, and yet you are assuming that everybody here is listening to this on an iPod? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
They've downloaded it onto their iPod.
Onto their iPod.
It's funny though, is in my head when you said iPod, I envisioned the white one with the clicky wheel.
That's exactly what I pictured.
That dates me back. I didn't think.
Yeah.
I didn't think of like a shuffle. No.
I never had an iPod, and I wanted one, and I never had one.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I know.
I had the white clicky one, and I had a video.
Those like clamshell laptops that are like MacBooks, that they had with the different colors, or the big deep monitors that were all different colors.
The Bondi blue one.
I wanted the colored one so bad.
I still want one
Max?
right now to this day. I don't care what it'll do. I'll play Snake on that thing. I don't care. I want it. I want it, and I want someone to send it in. Yes, in the George Lopez show. Good catch. We had a couple of cameos where people seem to be sort of reprising famous roles. Like Dave Faustino was credited as Bud, which was his character from Married with Children. We had a little Baywatch reunion where you had two characters playing their Baywatch characters, and then you have like the running in slow motion and everything. So a few fun things like that. I was kind of surprised that they could do the Christine joke. Like Steve Guttenberg drives up like in a car and says it's Christine, and it looks just like the one from the Stephen King movie. I was like, is that okay? Is that intellectual property? What are we doing? But
Stephen King's never watching this movie.
That's true.
What are you talking about?
He'll never
probably wrote a blurb for it. He's writing blurbs for everything. All right, so we already know Steve's general impression of this. Kendra, tell me, was this how did this stack up to the other ones for you?
It was, pretty on par with with the other ones. They're just like on a road trip, constantly getting chased by a tornado for some reason. In the whole world, it's only where they are.
I find myself wishing that there was, like, I know there's sort of new elements, but it was like the last two were all about like, oh, the Sharknadoes have merged with something else. And this we had like the sand Sharknado and stuff. I keep kind of hoping that it will escalate in a different way. That it's not just Sharknadoes, but like there's a Sharknado and like say an earthquake or something like that. Like there's multiple disasters or something. Wow,
a lightning NATO and a nuclear NATO was not enough for you.
They're just
more
different versions of NATOs. What I'm saying is, I just feel like it would be helpful if there was something else going on, because this one to me felt very samey in a way that I didn't like. I was like, I'm watching the right one, right? And yes, I am.
Yeah, this one also confused me too. I decided not to go back and look, but were there multiple tornadoes?
Yes.
Sharknadoes?
Yes.
There were.
Yeah.
When did they split? I never saw how
they just started popping up all over the place.
Okay. Yeah. I missed that, and I was just like, wait a minute. So I thought, oh, I must have missed that. But then it was also, okay, well, there was one in Vegas.
Yeah.
Then there was one in Kansas.
Right.
No, Texas. Then Kansas. But they were at all three of those.
Yeah.
And
they were like traveling, and I am not good at geography, so I don't know if that makes sense.
I had to look that up because I was like, if you go from Vegas to Kansas, it's almost a straight line across the United States.
Yeah.
Texas, and they were in West Texas too, all those oil fields. I know that.
They went down to
so they
Texas.
went like literally down. Like, where were they going? Home? Like, that's way. And if you look at the map, we're talking like 30 hours out of the way. Like, not something close. We're talking a really long time.
It didn't even occur to me when it said "Welcome to Texas" that's crazy.
Yeah, when I rolled up in Texas, like, what are you doing in Texas? I thought they were going to Kansas. Like, do they really think people just don't know United States geography?
Well, I didn't pick up on it, but I'm very vocal about the fact that I am terrible at geography.
To me, I thought it was funny that, like, we all are aware that, like, the plot is not. They just need a reason to Sharknado, so that one may Sharknado.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I felt like in this one there was like 10 times as much plot as in previous ones, and it made like a quarter of as much sense as previous ones. You know what I mean? Like, they just kept throwing things at it.
It's also happening. Yeah,
I felt like it. Yeah, very confusing.
Yeah, I like how the storm evolved, though. Right, that it was like Sandnado, then it was Bouldernado, then it was Oilnado, then it was Firenado, and then it was Electricnado, and then finally culminating in Nuclearnado.
Yeah,
which
that's what I'm saying.
That I like.
And if you're anywhere near any of that radiation, they'd all be dead. There's no coming back. No coming back from that.
But it's just it's like they had never done that. They only combined the tornadoes to make Mega Sharknado. Now it's just like now that each individual shark had an additional hazard on it, where it was just like, it didn't, like the nuclear ones, they didn't need to eat. They didn't need to eat you. They just touched you and you just vaporized. Like,
but so for my money, like the opening, the whole Vegas sequence, when they're having like an old school bar fight with sharks like falling from the sky into bars and onto the casino floor. When Ian Ziering is like driving a car through the tornado, the Sharknado,
surfing the tornado with the car.
The tornado with the car. Yeah, for my money, that was like the most fun that this ever was, and I don't think anything quite captured that.
I wish that the whole movie had been more like that.
I do too.
They like do that whole big thing, and then it kind of slows down from there.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. But
it does start out really strong. It really does.
It does. Yeah. And it's funny because I also felt like the parts where before you get to the Sharknado felt very grounded. Like Finn being away for 5 years and everything. It felt more like a real movie for a few minutes there. And I think the switch into the Sharknado was more like, whoa. And we say it every year, but Ian Ziering I don't know how he does it, how he finds this perfect center for these movies, but he's got it every time.
And he's the same guy every movie. So did you notice though that this movie, it seemed like everyone was serious?
Yeah,
remember,
it was a little bit more.
Like the third one, right? Or the second one where we were like, oh my gosh, like everyone seems to be just, it's like everything was filmed without Ian Ziering, and then they were like, okay, this is a Sharknado movie, and we're just going to add you in later. And he's serious, but everyone else just seems not serious. This one, it was serious all around. Like everyone almost seemed to be like, okay,
they played it quite straight.
Yes, they did. Everyone played it straight.
I feel too a little like we've lost. Some of the balance has shifted. So I agree with you, Steve. Some of the humor that was sort of like. Kind of like the old Adam West Batman show where they're doing it straight. Everything's hilarious. I didn't really feel like that was here for this one. And I think that's probably what I missed the most. Yeah, they lost a little bit.
Did lose it. And that's when I was just like, wait a minute. I feel like I really enjoyed this more when I watched it the first time. And this time I was kind of like,
yeah.
There were times where I was like, I probably laughed really hard at that, but I just didn't really find it funny as much this time. So I don't know. It was like just different.
I was kind of hoping there were going to be more allusions to The Force Awakens.
There's not. There's really not.
There were like 2 or 3 Star Wars things, and then there were so many Wizard of Oz things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I was like, why?
It started like in the midst of the Star Wars one, there was several Star Trek references too. Hasselhoff says, beam me up, and somebody says, Where No Man's Gone Before. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, do they know that's Star Trek, not Star Wars?
Well, he does, I can't tell it. He points out that it's Star Trek.
Yeah. That's right. He does. He says it. He says
with his daughter or his granddaughter.
Yeah, you're right.
Which was like a really oddly awkward conversation that happened. Like it was so weirdly forced.
It was. I mean, April says, "May the force be with you" at one point, and somebody else says, "Stay on target, stay on target."
Yes.
You know, of course, we had April's lightsaber hand, her shark hand robot. Yes,
she says, "May the force be with you."
Saber hand.
She does.
Chainsaw hand.
I thought that. So if you didn't watch the movie, I mean, good for you. But they spend a lot of time thinking that April is dead, and April also thinks her family is dead, and she's been like off with her father this whole time, becoming like a cyborg fighter, I guess. I feel like this was maybe Tara Reid's best performance. Did anybody else feel that way?
I'll give you that.
I felt like in this one, she's kind of pulling off this like cyborg thing. Like it felt like it made more sense to me than any of the things she's done in the previous movie. So it's a tip of my Sharknado cap to Tara Reid.
The way she acts too, that it was just like, oh, she's acting very flat, and you're like, oh, well, she's a cyborg, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, it felt
intentional.
It felt intentional. So either they're using it well, or she's into it, or both. You, who knows? But I did notice.
I bet you
that
she is leaning into it.
I thought it was kind of
cold-heartedness.
When she sees some kid and he's like scared or whatever, she's like, "Do you like Iron Man? Well, I'm Iron Man's wife." I thought that was the weirdest line. Like she couldn't just say she was a superhero. She's like Iron Man's wife. It was such a weird thing to say. But
Iron Man's not married.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's having a conversation. Like she's holding the car up and having a conversation at the same time. It's like, oh my gosh. How about kid move? And then we can have this conversation.
Yes. Did you guys see the post-credit scenes?
No, I waited
to look for that.
I watched this on DVD, old school, and there were 2 post-credit scenes.
Is it it's what's his name?
So the first is
the Astro
Tommy Davidson. Yes. He's like, I lived. He's alive. I made it.
Oh, yes. I did see that.
Okay.
I saw
and
that.
The second one, they all sort of like come out and they look and something's falling out of the sky and it's the Eiffel Tower.
Oh.
The Eiffel Tower. I saw that. I did see
You did
yes,
see this.
I saw
Okay.
that.
And it lands in front of them and Ian Ziering.
I know that
like,
that leads into the 5th movie.
Yeah. So that was kind of a fun little teaser for the next one.
Nova's flying in on the Eiffel Tower.
I love Nova. Nova's my favorite.
Yeah, Nova is good, and I missed her in this because I didn't think Gemini was a good substitute, and it just felt a little wonky. Anything else we want to hit before we get to our Ichiwawas and all that?
I don't think so. I think we've covered.
we hit all the sharkiness.
Okay.
What'd you guys think about the Baywatch reunion?
I mean, you have to do it.
Yeah. I had to look. I was like, I'm pretty sure these people are from Baywatch, but I still had to look it up.
Oh my gosh, Gina Lee Nolan. I recognized her immediately. I was like, oh my gosh, she is still like smoking hot. How old is she? She's like
Baywatch is still working for Steve.
I know. Well, it was really the Hoff because I was a big Knight Rider fan, and when I heard about Baywatch, I was like, yes, I'm watching that. Literally the only kid watching Baywatch because
No. I watched Baywatch too, and I was definitely in it for the plots. So
yeah.
No, I really was. It was like the mysteries and stuff that happened. And then they spin off the whole Baywatch Nights. That's like all supernatural and weird. It was a weird time for television.
Oh, I never saw that.
I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
What was your 90210 snap?
When he has the chainsaw sword and he like flies through the Sharknado to save the kid and like stabs the shark into the wall, that was my 90210 snap because it was very high drama.
For me, it was the whale part at the end. That's the most dramatic for me. So yeah, the whale reunion between everyone where people were like, I forgot that sharks swallowed them.
Yeah.
And then here they are, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That person, I guess, got eaten by a shark. I just completely missed that."
I don't know. I found like the little kid using the chainsaw to get inside the whale.
That was a little weird.
Like, this is a lot.
This is a lot.
No, it's
his brother wouldn't have helped him. Like
I know it's supposed to be funny, but I was like, ooh, I don't know. I'm really not sure. Okay, all right, Kendra.
I'll give it to the scene with April and Finn on the plane when he's like, as long as your heart is still beating, I'll love you.
Yes. Yes.
I was waiting for I don't have a heart. That's what I was
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing to say to like a cyborg because like, I don't know, man, she might not actually have a heart. Like you just literally,
Yeah. You're not sure. Mm-hmm.
So Kendra, what was your Ichiwawa moment in this one?
I think I will give it to. Can I just give it to like the whole beginning, the car surfing maybe if I had to
sequence.
if I had to narrow it down, surfing on a car all the way down while Gemini is skydiving to meet them on the ground.
That's a good one. Yep. That's good. Mine is in the same area. It is the Vegas shark bar fight when the sharks are. The thing is, it's important that they're not just sharks sucked up in a tornado. These sharks are also a-holes and they're vindictive and they want to kill. They're not hungry,
malevolent.
They just want to kill. So when they land in the bar and they get into like fist fights and like somebody does like a crotch bump and knocks one of the
Chippendale dancers.
The whole shark bar fight was it for me. Steve?
Mine was the Baywatch reunion. I was really excited about that when I saw that happen. That for me, I was like, oh, I really liked that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they killed Gina Lee Nolan. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe they did that. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. Oh, did you know that the pilot and Gil's assistant are his daughters?
Oh, I did see that there was a couple of Hasselhoffs in the cast.
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I've seen this. So I had to look it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, they are his daughters.
Yeah.
They cannot
a couple
act.
of Hoffs.
God bless them. They cannot act.
No.
But yeah.
Okay, so we've talked. We managed to find some good things. Now I need to know everybody's Oak of Arc moment. So Kendra, the moment that you were just like, no, I don't want to. No.
Well, it's a weird one, but in the part where they're at the farm and Finn is like trying to save his son, he's like trying to get to Gil, and they're like in the house, and Gemini's trying to get inside. He just would not stop screaming, and I was ready to punch the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Gil was screaming, and I was like, stop. And it was the way he was screaming. He was like screaming the same word. And little Gil.
Yes. All right, just making sure. All right.
Yeah. And it was terrible.
Okay.
That whole scene was very long, too.
Yeah.
Like, overly long.
Yeah. So. The middle of this is very chunky. It feels...
Yeah.
Once you get out of Vegas, it takes a while to get back. I
looked at the time a few times in the very middle of the movie, and I was like, "Whoa, there's 43 minutes left." Like,
I definitely had more like, "This is still going. This is still on" moments than I did last year. But what was your Oak of Arc, Steve?
Mine was the mech suit.
I hate it.
I feel like I have forgotten about the mech suit, and when they were like the mech suit, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the mech suit." Wait, there's something about the mech suit, and when they showed it, I was like. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember the mech suit is so pathetic. I mean, they've had so much special effects, like cheesy special effects up until now, and they chose to have like a washing machine cardboard box mech suit. Like it was literally made in somebody's garage, and it's just like, man, they totally we didn't even all we needed was like a 5-second scene of looking at the mech, and all the rest of it could have just been the cockpit. Like Power Rangers, right?
Yeah.
Where the Power Rangers are like, you see the mech suit or the
briefly,
and then all the rest of it is them in the cockpit. Zord, yeah. And then they're just in the cockpit, and you see them acting. They could have done that, and it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
But man, that mech suit was that was a huge like, oh yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I forgot how bad that is. So that for me.
The like sort of techie side of this is definitely the thing that I liked the least. And I just felt all of the stuff. I mean, it was one thing when April like lost her hand and had like the chainsaw hand or whatever, but it just went so hard into that was the thing that I was just like, I don't like this. This isn't funny. This is like I just didn't enjoy it. So
she did shoot out of her
lasers?
palm like Iron Man. She had the lightsaber. What did we see? We saw the chainsaw hand. What other things did she do?
I mean, she just had strength.
She had the rocket feet. because she was able to fly within and everything. When he was
I
in the
guess
mech
it's just
suit.
at that
So,
point,
yeah.
it's like you've moved so far out of what you were originally spoofing. At that point, it's just kind of an odd. I don't know. It didn't land for
Yeah.
me. So
It was a
I don't
weird
Why
know.
did they
move.
choose Iron Man? I mean, they might as well have just made it like an Iron Man 3 spinoff. kind of.
True. Yeah.
What did you
Boy.
guys think about? I had another Oak of Arc, and it was basically
All right.
Gary Busey's character. They picked Gary Busey to be like the genius scientist, and he seemed like he was just not in the same room as everyone else when
That's
they were
classic
acting.
Gary
He was-
Busey.
He
I
was
think when
saying
you
his
hire
lines,
Gary
and I was like,
Busey,
whoa,
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting.
yeah, that's
yeah.
true. Like,
Yeah.
But I thought that too. I was like, did we ever see him in the same room as anyone else, or did they film
don't
him by
know.
himself for
I think-
everything?
because it was on the video screen.
I wondered if we were only going to see the video screen, if that was going to be like all
No,
of
he was
it.
in the room,
you
and he's
know?
like, "No,
I know
April,
eventually he
don't
was.
go, don't."
Yes. I
And I'm
was like, I don't think they're in the same room together.
Does he not want her to go? Yeah.
Oh, you might be right. I didn't think about that, but
It was
you might
really
be right.
weird, and I was like,
Huh.
"Okay, that was
Okay.
very strange." Yeah,
Okay. Should we talk cameos?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Favorite cameo? What do you got? Steve, how about you?
I had Adrian's Med, of course.
Yes,
he's
of
the
course,
first cameo.
of
Then
course.
Vince Neil was there, lead singer of Motley
Blink
Crue.
and you miss it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. He's
okay,
playing. He's
okay.
playing Craps.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Didn't you just see Motley Crue in concert?
I did. Well, yeah, like a year ago, I saw it was
Okay.
it was
Like
Joan
Def
Jett,
Leppard and
Poison, Def Leppard, and Motley Crue's.
okay, all right, that's cool.
But and then of course seeing like all the Baywatch people was like, oh, I love this. So
Okay, Kendra.
I had a couple.
Okay.
You see Robert Herjavec, who is a shark from
From
Shark Tank.
Shark
And
Tank.
he
that's
Reynolds is like, you messed up, you're fired. And then he turns to the woman next to him and is like, you're hired. And that woman is married to Robert. They met on Dancing with the Stars as partners on Dancing with the Stars and got married. And I love it. So that really made me smile. And then, as you know, I am obsessed with Vanderpump Rules, and Jax Taylor from Vanderpump Rules was in here. He was one of the military guys escorting the mayor, and I almost missed it, but I recognized his voice, and I had to like back it up, and I was like, that is definitely Jax Taylor. And then Stassi Schroeder, also from Vanderpump Rules, was in this. She was like, when they're at Niagara Falls, she was the blonde woman who was like giving everyone orders, and then she's gonna like take the kids to a safe house and whatever. That was Stassi. She got a lot of screen time in this. So as a VPR fan, I was pretty excited about that.
Thanks for representing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
the mayor was
the other...
Stacey Dash. The mayor of Chicago, that was Stacey Dash from Clueless.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what she was from.
That's where she's from. Yeah. I was just like, whoa, is that her? Like, man.
Kendra, we had Lori from Shark Tank was also in this.
Yes, Lori is there for like
all of them except for the bald one.
Damon. No, I can't remember his last name, but he was in the second one. I want to say.
Damon Johns, right?
Johns, yes.
Damon
Johns. Yeah, and then we had Mark Cuban as the president.
Mark Cuban. So I don't think that. I think the only one we haven't seen is what's his face?
Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful. I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I watched Shark Tank.
Yeah. All right, so I had a couple. I mean, Paul Schaefer was really fun, like from the Dave Letterman band. He's like out busking, and he grabs like, oh, I got to get my equipment, and he's like running away with the mandolin, and he gets taken out by a shark.
That was funny.
But I felt like it was like a nice deep cut and suitable for our Star Wars crossover was Daniel Logan, who played the kid Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones, played Captain Fett in this. And I thought that was
what?
Yeah,
Where was
that was fun. That was fun. Well, you hardly recognize him because he was a kid in when you see him in Star Wars. But
I'm IMDbing this right now.
He's smoking a cigar and his helmet is very Boba Fett-y. Like it's the right colors and everything.
I recognize the Boba Fett. No way, that's actually him.
He's flying the plane like into the sandstorm, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's him. That's
at
like
the
actually
at the
very beginning. It's the wedding plane where they're getting married.
So right, and that's actually the guy who played Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones. So
hilarious!
Wow.
So that was
Boba Fett.
Oh man, Boba Fett. Yeah.
Yep.
Where?
Okay.
No way.
There were a couple of cringy ones in here. Carrot Top, the Chrisleys were in there as well.
I don't know who that is.
I feel like those were the only two kind of cringy ones that I saw.
You know, I found
Dog the Bounty Hunter was there. That was kind of funny.
Yeah. It's funny. I kind of wished that everyone was a cameo because this one I kept thinking, is that person a cameo? Oh, no.
Yes,
no,
I feel like the quality of the cameo was a little lower. You know what I mean?
Quality of the cameo was
Bravo
lower.
TV was well represented. Yes. There were several Real Housewives from Beverly Hills that were there. So
Al Roker tried too hard in this one. I think his scenes just were so annoying to me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
He's trying to act so hard and he just stop. Just be yourself. It was just weird. Every
you know what?
I was like, oh no, please.
Stop. I would list Dr. Drew as cringy. Also, I felt like that was a cringy cameo. But
oh yeah, that's true.
Another year, another Sharknado, guys.
What's your favorite human death and what's your favorite shark kill?
Oh,
it's hard.
Well, I can go first because I had mine prepared. My shark death, which I thought was the best and the most ridiculous and stupidest, was when 3 sharks were coming at them when they were on the pirate ship. And they're like, we need a weapon!
Yeah, the pirate ship.
There's one right there. It was the pirate ship wheel. and Finn throws it and like skewers the 3 sharks. I was like, oh yeah, that's the best one for sure. It's so unplausible. That's the one, you know.
I'll give it to when Gemini jumps over Niagara Falls and is just like stabbing a shark in midair.
That was really good. Yeah, that was really good. And then that scene too, right when the storm gets vaporized and she's like falling. I thought, wow, that was really good. That was actually like really dramatic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was a good scene.
It made me laugh when Matt and Gabby or Gabrielle were just like shooting sharks on their way to the bunker at the farm. Yeah. They just like stop and shoot a bunch of sharks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I got to give it again to the chainsaw sword. I mean, I just felt like that was such a huge, like.
There was also a chainsaw bulldozer that we didn't mention.
It was. That is a street cutter. Yeah, asphalt cutter.
Yes,
that one was
also good. I think my favorite human death was the the slot machine lady. Where she's just playing, and it's like the ceiling just opens up, and the shark is just like chomp. I thought that was pretty funny because it's just like, okay, all right. I guess this was the top floor, and it was made of tissue paper. Yeah. So now we have a shark. So great.
In the beginning, when they are, she's helping the people off that roller coaster, Ferris wheel, whatever ride is on top of the hotel. And she's helping people off. And one girl is like getting eaten by a shark as she's strapped in. And the guy next to her, his face is so funny as he's screaming, trying to like get himself out of the
It didn't match. It didn't match. It did not. I noticed that.
It really made me laugh.
That's funny. What about you, Steve?
I did like Adrian Zmed's death. Because he didn't get eaten by a shark. He was like, he pulled the thing and he's like, jackpot! And then like literally like a sword shark, or I don't know what kind of shark that is, just skewers him and he's like flappy arms.
Like, that was good.
I just thought that was so dramatic.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even get eaten by a shark. He literally just got stabbed by a shark. Yeah. And that's it. That's how he dies.
Boy. Okay, well, as always, we will reconvene in 1 year, the merging of these podcasts, to talk about Sharknado 5 Global Swarming. Steve, have you seen this one?
I don't know. I don't think I have.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I have.
All right.
So
this would be the first one that we're all coming to blind. Interesting.
Yeah.
I did notice that this one has the lowest Rotten Tomato score of all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's generally considered to be on the downside. I don't know. It's hard to.
I wonder
it's
why.
hard to rate. I don't know.
It felt on par for me.
Yeah. I think it's getting tired. I think that's what it is. It's just,
Yeah.
But see, one of those things where like the joke, it starts funny and then it's not funny and then it gets funny again.
Yes. Oh,
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they all stopped it at the it's not funny and they were like, I can't watch this anymore. But it gets funnier.
Yeah. By the time we get to the last movie, it's going to be hilarious again.
I hope so. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. All right, guys. Tell me, what do we have coming up on our regular podcasts?
So next up on This Endorian Life, we'll be covering Droids number 5, Separated.
Okay.
And Kendra, here's the thing. The titles never mean anything.
That's how it is on 90210 a lot.
Is it?
That
Okay,
is
yeah,
true.
the Haunted Mansion
That
or
is
the
true.
Haunted Forest, not haunted.
Yeah.
The Destroyer, which was not really the Destroyer.
Not much of a destroyer.
Not much of a destroyer. And it's
It's all
separated.
sizzle, baby. It's all
I'm
sizzle.
guessing there is going to be a separation in this.
Okay. All right.
I feel like this one. I'm calling this first one that's going to be correctly named.
You can find out on This Endorian Life. Kendra?
On 90210, we'll be back for season 8, episode 21, The Girl Who Cried Wolf.
Mm.
And just, as a shout out, since it's Shark Week, sharks are important for the ecosystem. They're good. They're not bad, and we need to protect them. Even though they scare me to death, and I often have nightmares about sharks, they are important, and we should not cut into them with chainsaws.
No,
Yes.
and no shark was harmed in the filming of Sharknado 4.
That's
Hopefully
true.
not.
Awakens,
That's
so.
true. These are the official statements of the Radio Meanwhile Network. Sharks are good.
Yeah.
And we stand by that. Okay. Well, then I guess until next year, that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
9021, here we go!